Welcome everyone to another Seating Dynamics quick class. Today we're going to discuss how to determine the optimal level of resistance in the dynamic head support hardware. My name is Michelle Lang. Let's jump in. So dynamic head support hardware provides resistance to movement through an elastomer, a spring, or a hydraulic. In the Seating Dynamics hardware, this is done through elastomers. The resistance allows movement from the client, stores that force as energy, and then uses that stored energy to facilitate a return to a starting position. Without resistance, the head support would move but not return the client to a starting position. So Seating Dynamics dynamic head support hardware moves posteriorly in response to client either posterior force or rotational force or a combination of the two. Many people, when they extend at the neck, rotate, and some of that can be due to influences like that asymmetrical tonic neck reflex that pull someone into extension as well as rotation. So it's important that if there's any rotation present, that the head support can respond to that, that the dynamic component can respond to both posterior and rotational forces. So each hardware package comes standard with 8 blue elastomers, and these provide a firm level of resistance. 4 of the elastomers are designed to absorb and to diffuse impact forces from the client. The other 4 are designed as rebound elastomers. We have the same scenario, same design in the dynamic rocker back interface, and that slows down or smooths out the movement as the client returns to their initial starting position. This hardware ships with 4 additional green impact elastomers, which are extra firm if required. So if the resistance is too soft in the dynamic head support hardware, you may observe that the client has a little too much extraneous head movement. So there might just be a lot of random head movements. If there's too little resistance, it can also decrease stability and lead to the client assuming more neck hyperextension, which we do not want. If the resistance is too firm, then you might not observe any movement at all or very, very little. As a result, there's not going to be that force diffusion as well. So we want just right. We want there to be movement, but we want the client to readily return to their starting position without a lot of extraneous movement. Now here we see Jonathan, and on the left, his head support was too far back, and it allowed him to move into neck hyperextension. So we adjusted it, as you see on the right. He's pretty upright there with his neck, but this allows him to move posteriorly. It will also accommodate his rotation without ending up looking at the ceiling. Now, one unique consideration when we're looking at dynamic head support position and resistance is leverage. The hardware that Seating Dynamics uses is a series of links, and those links allow us to get the desired height of the head pad itself. So, depending on the client and what type of seating they have, the total length of these links is going to vary. And the longer the length, the more leverage is present. So that means that the client can more readily move the head support rearward the longer that lever arm is. So a firmer elastomer may be required in people who have lots of height to their head support hardware. It's important to check the elastomers at least once a year for wear. If more movement is present than there used to be, then more likely than not, these need to be replaced. And this is addressed in our maintenance quick class. Seating Dynamics can provide you directions on how to change or replace these elastomers as required for wear and tear, or because the client just simply needs a different level of resistance to their movement. So, bottom line, the ability to vary resistance allows us to better meet an individual's unique needs. Although the dynamic components come standard with elastomers or springs, it's critical to evaluate the level of resistance that's required at installation and fitting with the client so that we're really meeting their individual needs. So I want to thank you very much for joining us for this class here today. If you have any questions, if you want to discuss a difficult client scenario, feel free to reach out to us. Thanks.